Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Raider Sports. How are we doing this morning? Yes, it is a early morning Raider Sports podcast that we typically don't get around to. But big time news. We finally know what is going on with the American Athletic Conference, after they were pretty much shunned by all the Mountain West teams. We figured they would have to listen to me and what I said to do. 2-3 years ago when UConn moved from the AAC to the Big East of basketball and becoming an independent, I said they would go and raid the Conference USA, and that is precisely what they did. I said they should have just added UAB in to replace UConn. I made a whole video about it. So it's like the first video I made that had like 1,000 views. So it's really cool to see that UAB is on this list, and this has all come to fruition. If they would have listened to me 3 years ago, they would have been in a much better place and not scrambling. But since they don't listen to me, since I don't make these decisions, I probably should. I will accept the job if called. So yeah, long story short, they're expecting 6 applications from Conference USA members. And according to the guy who wrote the article, Pete Trammell, he said that the expected teams are going to be Florida Atlantic, who would pair up, very nicely with South Florida. And they're going to have the Charlotte 49ers. They're going to have the regional stuff with ECU and Memphis. It's going to be a very nice little rivalry there. And then they went really, really heavy on Texas, and I think this is the state of Texas, and this is kind of where I'm like questioning why Rice and North Texas would be such big major players. I never really thought those would be like the 5 and 6 team on my list if I was ranking these, because Rice and North Texas, I don't know, it just doesn't have the same feel as Texas San Antonio. We know what they're doing. They're big time right now. They're 7-0. They're now ranked in the top 25 for the first time I think ever. And San Antonio is such a huge market, football frenzy market. I mean, you saw what the Commanders did during the Alliance of American Football. That place was selling out the dome, getting 40,000 people in there, which for the Alliances was sellout. And so having the Roadrunners come in, that would be something. Give San Antonio legitimate football again, even though it is still considered Group of 6, but still. San Antonio, yes. North Texas, I guess Dallas market, whatever. Rice, Houston market. I guess it works from a market standpoint, but still, it's like Rice in North Texas. Are you really going to tune in for Rice in North Texas? Probably not. But Texas, San Antonio, again, huge market. Great team right now. Team on top of the world. And then UAB. I did it. UAB replaces UConn. Let's just call that right now. And so I feel good that I called that one. And there is no Southern Miss. That's probably the one. I'd probably rather actually have Southern Miss than maybe North Texas. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like North Texas, it just doesn't have the same ring as, Southern Miss, Brett Favre University. I mean, really, when you think of North Texas, what do you think? So if I had to choose, what teams, if I had to rank these teams out of teams that I would want to see in, it would go UAB, number 1, Florida Atlantic, 2. I think those are the 1 and 2. Then San Antonio at 3, Charlotte at 4. I know big market, but still, Charlotte just feels like it's a slower up and coming. It's had more time. It just hasn't ballooned yet as a program out there. They're getting around to it, but they're just not doing great. Then Rice, and then North Texas, in that order. Um, a team who I said Southern Miss. I'm really shocked that either they don't want it or there's really nothing more to Southern Miss, but I don't know. It's just something I feel like they're probably the team left out of this one. And now we look forward to, what's Conference USA going to do? If they lose 6 teams, they go down to 8. Where are you going to find 6 teams to replace the 6 teams you lost? And it isn't like, the teams left are great. You're probably going down. You're probably going to start picking out some FCS teams. You're probably looking at like a James Madison or a Jacksonville State. You might call up, Liberty, call up the Independence, Liberty, Army, UMass, just to try to, fill in the slots, because now you're scrambling. I mean, hell, you might want to just look at New Mexico State just for the hell of adding the numbers. I mean, I really don't know where you go from here if you are Conference USA. You might just have to disband it. I don't see that happening, but in the worst possible scenario, you can't add teams, especially with the WAC starting to reform itself and in the FCS, and then trying to become FBS once again by 2030. So that's going to be it's just, you just feel like this is going to start snowballing if you are the Conference USA. That's just where, like the doomsday scenario, we were talking about the Big 12 a few months ago. This now looks almost very parallel to, almost much more definite than the Big 12, because Conference USA is the lowest of the group of 5, all of FBS. So when you look at this, you're really looking at the possibility of a doomsday scenario for the Conference USA. And the more I talk about it, the more I talk myself almost into this. And the less I talk about it, the better I feel about it. So for the Conference USA's sake, I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Ken Rader, and I'm signing out.